today's show is all about respect, baby, because do the Dolphins not respect Tua Tagovailoa? Well, there's no respect from ESPN on Raheem Mostert. And then to round out today's show, Elite Duo Talk. Does Miami have one of the best young duos in the NFL? This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am Nick Roloff, and let's get right into the rumors on today's show because Dolphins don't respect quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. I'm giving that one fin, which means there might be a small shred of truth to this. I don't really think this is the case, but Miami Herald's Cote kind of shared an opinion piece on Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins and their contract negotiations, and he had some pretty harsh words surrounding the two in their negotiations. Greg said that the Miami Dolphins have never had full faith and total belief in Tua Tagovailoa or anything close to it. Not in 4 years and not now as his fifth season dawns. And I did want to specify that's an opinion piece. That isn't any sourced information. But I did want to talk about Greg's opinion because it's a fascinating one as they have yet to extend Tua after he is going to play this year on the fifth-year option. And, well, they haven't given him a Trevor Lawrence or Jared Goff contract. And I'm talking to the Fins fans at home here. I understand there could be some annoyance that the Miami Dolphins have not given to a contract extension that he wants, and they haven't even allegedly come into the ballpark of Jared Goff or Trevor Lawrence. But there is a reason to be wary on Tua and giving him a massive $52, $55 million contract per season for 4 or 5 years. We'll talk about that in just a second, but this kind of thought from Greg had me coming up with an idea of my own here. Do you think Miami has faith in quarterback Tua Tagovailoa? If you think they do, type F for faith. If you're with Greg, type D for don't. Some of the reason why there is reason to be wary on Tua and giving him a massive 4 or 5 year extension is that he has missed some games. We all know the history with his concussions and, well, one big hit could relatively end his career. Now, he did play in all 17 games last season and avoided any injuries. There's a lot to do with the jiu-jitsu, falling the right way, getting the ball out of his hands sooner. But there's no debating that he had his best season of his career in 2023 when he played in all 17 games, completed nearly 70% of his passes, and led the NFL in passing yards. It obviously helps having Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle at your disposal, but there is no question that Tua took that leap that Fins fans were asking for in terms of playing every single game and being an efficient passer. There are still some ways to go in terms of protecting the football. 29 touchdowns to 14 INTs is not the best ratio, hoping for a little bit of an improvement in 2024, which is kind of where I expect him to be this upcoming season. I expect a big leap for Tua Tagovailoa this upcoming season. Why, you might ask? Well, he's entering year 3 with Mike McDaniel. And when we look around all type of sports, year 3 is usually when the big jumps happen. You get your first season, you get acclimated. Year 2, you're starting to really just come along. But then in that third year, you have total control of your game, whether it be in the NBA, it doesn't matter. But in specifically the Dolphins, he'll have the full cadence, he'll have the full understanding of the playbook, and he should be able to execute this offense better than anyone possibly could on earth. I understand that the Dolphins are hesitant to give Tua Tagovailoa a massive extension, but you just simply got to do it soon because if you continue to wait and Tua does have a big third season under Mike McDaniel, like I expect him to, that number that he is going to ask for on a yearly basis is going to rise from $52.55 to $58.60. With the cap going up and more money being given out to quarterbacks, you're only going to give more percentage of your cap space to Tua if you wait and he balls out another season. I get the injury history, but to me, this is a no-brainer. Get the extension done with Tagovailoa before training camp opens in a couple weeks. And if I were to give Tua a contract extension, I'm going to continue to stick with this graphic here that I've shown multiple times throughout the last 2 months when I've taken over as host of this channel. I think 4 years for $220 is very fair for a Tua Tagovailoa extension. It gives him $55 million in annual average basis, which is the same amount of money as Trevor Lawrence. I think Tua and T-Law are on the same tier here. You might say Lawrence has better talent. I'm not going to try to deny that. But just in their NFL careers, Tagovailoa has been more productive, although he has had better weapons and a better offensive-minded head coach. I think that guaranteed money is where we really have a sticking point, though, with Miami and Tua because Jared Goff got about 170. Trevor Lawrence got about 200. So where does Tua get his guaranteed? I think $180 million is the sweet spot there. It basically makes it a 3-year contract for Tua, and you could basically shed the last year if it's completely non-guaranteed or anything like that, or just kind of space it out where you have non-guaranteed money in every single year of his contract. Different ways you can go through this, but I think Chris Grier should offer something like this to Tagovailoa. Let's move on here to Raheem Mostert. Does ESPN disrespect the Miami Dolphins running back? Oh, yeah. 4 fins. This is absolutely happening. An absolute disgraceful post from ESPN, which we'll talk about more here in just a second. But I got to show some love to today's sponsor, which is Mando. It's officially summertime, which means you need to get right and make sure you're smelling good. I make sure I'm never the smelly person in the room with Mando. Mando is a whole body deodorant. It is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body, whether it's pits, your packages, you know what I mean down below if you're with me, belly buttons, butt cracks, stinky surfaces, stomach folds, and feet. It doesn't matter. It's the best place to put it. And Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers because it comes with deodorant, but also some other things as well. I got a little shampoo right here, and I as well have the deodorant wipes. I have multiple items from Mando. I love the Mount Fuji deodorant. It is my personal favorite. And it comes, when you're talking about the starter pack, a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products, whether you want that body wash or the deodorant wipes I just showed you on screen. Also has free shipping. How about that, folks? Luckily, I have a discounted code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Yes, you heard that correctly. Use code CHAT at chatmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. That is code CHAT. Get $5 off. Link and promo code is in the description and comments of today's show. Shout out to Mando, my personal favorite way to make sure I'm smelling right this summer. Let's move over to Raheem Mostert and the disrespect ESPN is showing the leader in the clubhouse in rushing touchdowns a year ago, because they put out an article today that had the top 20 running backs voted on between personnel and media people, and both Raheem Mostert and De'Von Achane weren't in the top 20. That is the most incredibly disrespectful thing of all time. How could you not have those two studs in the top 20? Raheem Mostert led the league in rushing touchdowns last year with 18 and had over 1,000 rushing yards, and rookie De'Von Achane had 800 yards and 8 touchdowns himself. Like, I just don't understand this. Mostert had 21 total touchdowns when you factor in the receiving game last year, and he averaged almost 5 yards a carry in one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. I understand he's 32. I understand he's getting on the older side of the running back market, but how can you seriously look at me and tell me this isn't a top 20 back in all football? And by the way, he did those stats while missing 2 games during the regular season. And when you look more in depth at Raheem Mostert's 2023 season, shout out to Travis Wingfield, by the way, for putting these stats on social media. He was first in rushing touchdowns. He was 4th in success rate with a 55%, tied for 4th in first downs ran, 6th in yards per carry, 6th in yards after initial contact, and 7th in missed tackles forced. Are you serious? How can he be the leader in rushing touchdowns, top 10 in almost every other metric that defines what a running back brings to the table, and you don't even have him in the top 20? This is gross stuff from ESPN, and those losers over in Bristol, Connecticut have an agenda to push against the Miami Dolphins. I am not here for it. I had to call them out on their BS because, my goodness, those two could both be top 20 running backs, but they're going to have none of them? What a joke. Make sure you are subscribed as we continue here throughout today's show, because you don't want to miss a beat of Miami Dolphins news and rumors. I'm Nick Roloff. We have daily content, including a live show every single week on Tuesday afternoons. So hit that sub button and stay locked in with us here at Dolphins Today. Miami has an elite duo, or do they, should I say? Well, this is 4 fins too, baby, because it is absolutely the case in the 305. And the duo that they're referring to is Jaylen Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa as the second best young duo in the NFL. And it's actually interesting that they had this, and I wanted to share the quote they had. Tagovailoa paced the league with 9.2 yards per pass attempt in 2022 and did the same with 46.4 passing yards in 2023. Waddle has crossed the 1,000-yard barrier in all 3 seasons, also leading the NFL with 18.1 yards per reception 2 years ago. Tyreek Hill's presence is undeniably helpful, but Tagovailoa and Waddle represent the long-term foundation in Miami. And I think that last part is extremely key when Bleacher Report had this article having them as the second best young duo in the NFL. This isn't just, by the way, quarterbacks and wide receivers. There was also edge rushers, just other different combinations of cornerback duos as well. I think what the Dolphins have had, though, with Tua and Jaylen Waddle has just been phenomenal, and the only duo to top them on that list was Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, and I would argue Tua and Jaylen Waddle are a better combination. But these two are the future of the Fins, right? Assuming that an extension gets done between Tua and Miami, he's your quarterback of the future. And then you tie in the fact that Tyreek Hill might be off the Dolphins team in 3 to 4 years. Waddle's going to be the wide receiver 1 on this roster for the next 8+ years in all hopefulness, and he got a big-time extension this offseason, which was well-deserved considering he has put up 1,000 yards in each of his first 3 seasons of his career and never had less than 4 touchdowns. He has had a phenomenal 47-game career for Miami, and assuming he is going to be able to stay healthy and be the wide receiver 1 on this team in the foreseeable future, he is going to put up ungodly numbers, and he might even threaten Mike Evans' 1,000-yard streak if he's already gotten it started with 3 straight to begin his career. I want to show some love to Tua and Jaylen Waddle because if they're scrolling on YouTube, I want them to know that the Dolphins fans love them and love them as a combination. So spam 17 or 1. Show some love to one of them. Pick one, or if you want to be a real one, get 2 separate comments in there, typing 17 in one or 1 in the other. But either way, let's flood the comment section and show some love to the best young duo in the NFL in terms of wide receiver and quarterback. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Like I said, we have daily content on the Miami Dolphins. We also go live on Tuesdays breaking down the latest around the Fins. So hopefully you subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you there.